lasted like maybe 2 weeks up there. Came back down. Um, Things weren't working out with my dad. It was just a BS story all from the very get go of him doing well up there. Um,
So you get my glasses.
then I just started coming home and just working.
Where do you work now?
Metro PCS by T-Mobile.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why you look like this.
Yeah.
Making them commissions.
Yes. I'm not really aiming for commissions, but if I need to for like my general manager or something like that, then yeah.
So what transpired between you came back to St. Pete after Savannah for what, the past year, 6 months?
I don't think it's been that long, has it?
I mean, you would know.
It's been like 4 months, 5 months. What happened? So I've been at home. I worked at a couple of different spots. I just kind of went MIA, like just stopped talking to everyone, stopped affiliating with everything, stayed inside, try to get my brain right, try to like build the habit up of like, a 21-day routine, but it was hard. There was a lot of things going, a lot of darkness in that house, and mom was just, it's almost like she was trying to purposely make me mad and like agitate and get me to that point. And it was just a bunch of discipline, self-discipline, having to get past all of that.
What was the plan last time we spoke? Weren't you and Kelly supposed to move out together or something?
Yeah, but Kelly hasn't really been on board with anything that I've been talking about. I'm always talking about doing these ideas together and like really putting it in, and like I'm all up for it. I have like what it takes and I can show it. But with her, it was like she was more interested in just partying and stuff and just being young, 19 years old, still learning.
What led to the
Violation?
just using again?
Using?
Was it family problems?
I don't know the answer to that yet, because I could say it's this, I could say it's that, but I just feel like it's not a viable option. Like, it's just a bunch of excuses at the end of the day. I could say that I was coping, stressing, whatever. Who knows what it was? Maybe it was just a kid maybe it was just a grown person, an adult, who wanted to make their own decisions, and their decisions did not turn, that's what it was. An adult who wanted to make their own decisions. Now their decisions have landed them in this situation, and now here we are today.
You don't have to justify anything with me. I just want to know what led to, using again, whether if it was actually stress in the home or hanging out with the wrong crowd. Or
no, it was definitely not the wrong crowd. I didn't hang out with anyone. I guess it could come down to like stress and just coping, because every time I would feel like that pressure, I would just pretty much like get back into it. And I keep telling myself that I was going to quit, and then I didn't.
What pressure? From who?
The pressure of having to like take care of all the bills. Like Kelly's working, my mom's not working. Kelly's not helping with anything, and Kelly's creating more problems. She just got arrested like I think 2 months ago for a warrant for not showing up to court. FTA, and it cost my mom a lot of money. And at the time, Kelly also stole the rent money for the month that my mom had left in the vehicle. So, it didn't make sense how this person could always get into so much trouble, and then just their situation is handled. They have that support from other members of the family and stuff. And I don't know. I guess I was just thinking like, hey, I got that same option too. I'm a good kid and this and that. Maybe they won't drug test me this month. Maybe Christmas is right around the corner, and they'll give me an extra month. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put the blame on anything.
I'm not looking for it. I just want the truth.
Yeah, I don't know it. I could say it's because of stressing and coping, but I just think I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Okay. So you work, and what do you do on your leisure time when you're not working, unless you work every single day?
I clean up around the house, and like I take care of like all the hoarding that's been going on, and then on top of that, I like Christmas is coming around, so like I've been like shopping for gifts and stuff, and I don't know, I've just been like giving out my family like a whole bunch of stuff that like I typically not give them, like a lot of the stuff that I hoarded up, like my power supply devices has like 8 USB ports with like 4 wall ports, and I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna give this to my brother because he had thought about me this year. He gave me Christmas gifts. It was awesome, and I was like, damn, I didn't even think about my brother's Christmas gift. Like I thought about everyone else in the household, but then around it, just I didn't meet the standards that I wanted to set for myself. Yeah, and then leisure time. What am I doing?
Fishing, hiking, walking.
None of them. I'm either on the phone with my girlfriend.
Same one.
Not Nancy.
I wouldn't even know who was who.
Oh.
I don't keep track of that.
So there's that, and then
has this current girlfriend of yours influenced your use?
No.
Not
at all. No,
does she
she's
use?
actually been very no. She doesn't use at all. She's against all of that stuff. She's been very supportive along the way and like really been there for me. But I just went back to just doing what I wanted.
Old habits die hard, huh?
Yeah, there was. I don't know. I just it's so easy to think that I have this self-discipline, but then when it really comes down to it, it's not like that. And I've noticed that. You know, like my dad came home yesterday for the first time, and he basically brought home a Hennessy bottle. And I just remember, like, I had just came home from probation. Officer told me, hey, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm sitting there, right? So now I'm fighting the urge of wanting to smoke. Okay, that's out the door, you know, knowing that's bad, knowing it's a bad decision, it's a terrible decision. And it's me looking for trouble, basically. So then when I was able to gather those thoughts, I looked at the Hennessy bottle and there was still this urge. Like, you know, it was like something with like drug, you know? But then I looked at the bottle for like maybe like 2 minutes. And then I thought back to myself, like, this is an urge and I have to fight it. This is addiction. This is something. This is genetic. You know, I watch a lot of other people in my family and household. They consume very easily, whether it's alcohol. My mom's actually on crystal meth right now. She's been on it for the last 6 months. That's how she operates. That's her stimulant. But the only problem is she's not getting productive, you know, whether it's the workforce or cleaning up the house. She's just bringing more and more stuff home. And that's been really difficult on me too. And her attitude, behavior, everything is like all messed up. Her testosterone's all the way up.
So with the new job that you're making, are you able to afford your own place?
Yeah, but I just started this week.
Yeah. It's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute to save up and then more hours probably.
Yeah, double.
Double.
Huh. I've been getting, you know, my uncle. I talked to my uncle yesterday, and he told me, "Look, you're not a bad kid. You know, the thing is, stuff happens. Whether people go bankrupt, whether it's a VOP, whether it's whatever, you know, ending up in asylums, ending up in PEMS, ending up whatever, you know, whatever is bad to, you know, the norms of whoever you're looking for that attention from." So he told me, like, when he was young, when he was my age, he had a girlfriend too, and he had a really good family. But what he realized was he didn't want his girlfriend to live with his family. So he worked very hard to save his money up and like move out, get his own place with his girl, like just really chase those goals. Because that's what he wanted the whole time, you know. Whether he really wanted it and he couldn't do it now, that's just where he wanted to end up. And I want to have that sense of self-determination too, or willpower, whatever it is.
Well, you know where it starts, right? Start with the book that I gave you.
I honestly, I don't think it's. I don't know, and I don't believe that. I don't know, and I don't believe that I'm struggling with cognitive behavior disorder. I think I'm struggling with like dialectal behavior disorder.
You see, the problem is that when you start to diagnose yourself, you tend to misdiagnose yourself. People are not meant to diagnose themselves. People should not go to WebMD, should not go
Well,
to
I
the
mean,
Mayo
like
Clinic.
dialectical behavior, it helps you with emotional regulation, staying on a routine, this and that, and those are where my focuses need to be. The whole strengthening the mind and the areas and the surroundings and the world and what it creates around you. I think I had that down, but it was more. And before, I know you didn't see that I had it down. Obviously, you saw when I was sitting right there in that spot.
You seem more stable now.
I'm trying. Yeah,
Your eyes standing still. They don't really wander too much.
yeah, that's what I've noticed. That people don't really take you seriously if your eyes are like, yeah, man. I worked with a girl. That's how I learned about it. She kept on looking at things and like being in her emotions all the time, and I was like, damn, was that me a couple years ago, a couple months ago? Like, I'm seeing the same person with my same struggle, but at least I'm not there like I used to be. Like, I remember it was so difficult to pull myself out of depression, anxiety, and like, when you say you want to be happy, but it's hard to actually be happy. I was there, but now I'm at that point where I can say I want to be happy and I can get to that. Like I was like imagining, obviously an idealization of what I would, how my experience in jail would be like again. And I wanted to see it in a new light this time if I was going for a while. I'm still able to breathe.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of people, when you get hit in your stomach, you get hit in your face, it's hard to breathe. So then, like, the fact that I still just get to breathe, even if I'm locked up, I'm alive, Being alive is more important than.
Your lawyer charging 600 is a very reasonable fee for this type of VOP.
He's not charging 600.
How much?
Hang on, I'm done.
Oh. So, if you want, maybe I can get someone less expensive for you, and probably even better. Hopefully, at a better price for you if you want.
Yeah, I need
because that's a little much for. I mean, well, technically, you said they're gonna find something in the swab.
I think he might come by again to do another swab, maybe in a week or two.
You don't have results yet? Where's the results?
I don't know.
Oh, so it tested positive, and so they're hitting you with a VOP. They hit you with a VOP already?
No.
Oh. Then hold on to your money until they actually hit you with a VOP.
Yeah.
Right now we're just jumping the gun.
Yeah, but I mean, before, I didn't think about these situations and how to prepare for them, and I'd get messed up. I'm sitting there in jail. I don't have no contact with anyone outside. I haven't left money for anyone for a collection call, like. But now that's what I'm doing now. I'm prepared. I put money into like many different roads. Okay, mom has $50 for my calls. Girlfriend has $50 for my calls. And my brother, he has my lawyer number just in case. When I give him my lawyer number, he's like, "Why are you giving this to me?" I'm like, "Oh, you're my brother, and like I need you to be supportive and be here for me. If something goes wrong because I gave my mom the phone number, Kelly could just go in that phone and delete that, and now we've just lost all contact to lawyer, anything." So, the first person I went with was Hernandez and Fernandez. Last time, I think they messed me over because they got me to do a guilty plea, a plea of admission. But the thing was, they said that the plea of admission was only for the no valid driver's license. So I don't know why I go back into my public record file, go back into the felony for the specific case. The no valid driver's license is not a part of that felony case. It's separate. And so I looked at the record down on the bottom, and it said plea of admission. I looked at it, and it was a part of that felony case, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how did they get me like that? Is that common?
Well, I wasn't there, right? I wasn't there, and you're supposed to be there to catch it in the moment that it's happening. You know what I mean? That's why I was trying to make your mind so it wouldn't be tripping.
I saw the charge and it only said no valid driver's license, and they told me just submit to this one charge and then I'll be admitted into the program, this and that. So I mean that worked out, but
They all they all supposed to give you paperwork. Each paperwork should reflect exactly what happened in that courtroom. If it was incorrect, what it says on the screen and what the paperwork that you're holding, then they will correct it in the courthouse. But you have to really understand what has unfolded in there, and whether or not you have received proper paperwork from your attorney holding them responsible for exactly what happened. Because yeah, they do mess up all the time. Technicalities mess up in the court. Something was said, something was signed, and it didn't really match up to what was said and what was signed, and it entered in the computer wrong. So they have to go back in and fix it all the time. Actually, that's why your mind can't be tripping when you're standing there with the judge and the lawyer, so that you understand fully what is happening. And if you don't understand something, you ask them right there, dead on the spot. If you don't get a piece of paper that comes along with certain pleas, that you need to address it with your lawyer. Like, what's happening here? I don't understand what's happening here, and I don't have proof of what just happened here. That's how on point you have to be.
yeah.
That was my main focus for you back then.
Hi, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Good.
The so you haven't done anything to address the dialectical. You just looked into it. Didn't buy a book.
No.
Didn't look into it.
No.
Hmm.
I just knew what I was struggling with, what that was regarding, and I was like, yeah, these are my focuses. I need counseling for that.
Let's talk about the lawyer in your head. Everyone's got a lawyer in their head.
Mm.
That means it tells you things. It steers you the wrong way. Against the advice of wise counsel. Bailey, no. Sit down. Sit. No. And being aware. I mean, like sitting there. Number one, you didn't finish the CBT book, so there's no way for you to make an accurate comparison whether you needed CBT or DBT. Number two, DBT is used for bipolar, severe bipolar. You would need DBT, right? And number three, CBT is used. CBT is literally a broad spectrum book that treats everything.
I think I do got some bipolar in me.
Okay, but that's not the point that you have it or not. When I am giving a student something, that means I've already pinpointed what I think they have. And number one, you can't hurt yourself by reading the book. You can't hurt yourself. You can't become more suicidal. You can't become more homicidal by reading and finishing the book. And the fact that you diagnose yourself, well, you can see where that has led you. You can see that you didn't take any steps to kind of better yourself psychologically. That everything that you've told me about going back in the house, what you're seeing, what people are doing, how it influences you, your old habits. That's what CBT aims to do, is to help you establish new healthy habits, to take control of your mind, to establish boundaries, self-discipline, just everything that you need to know about how to keep this thing under control and not let this thing steer you the wrong way. So again, it's a conversation I want you to have with yourself and with the lawyer in your head when you go home, go to sleep. Because that's that little lawyer in your head that did not go to law school, did not graduate law school, is not board certified. So therefore, it steers you all sorts of ways. You know what I mean? And you'd be wasting your time sitting there arguing with this guy for a very long time, until he gets a little too loud. Then you resort to smoking. He gets too loud, then he resorts to drinking. Everyone has this lawyer in their head, and it always steers people wrong because people don't know how to think. So therefore, they end up thinking wrong because school doesn't teach you how to think. School just teaches you how to do math, reading, and all this stuff to prepare you for workforce. It doesn't prepare you to make decisions effectively. There's a science behind making decisions effectively. And that's something that I have identified that you are not very good at. So therefore, my job is to help students how to think. And if you don't know how to think, you have to learn how to think correctly, to make better choices, more effective decisions. At the end of the day, you have to go home to yourself, to your own thoughts, and you have to live with the choices that you have made. and whether you've made the right choice or not, how do you know you've made the right choice or not? You know what I mean? Like for me, when I make choices, I'm helping people make choices for themselves. Therefore, I must have a system to explain to them why I think it's good for them, why I think it's good for their mind, why I think it's good for them and their family. You know, I have to have a lot of reasons behind it. I can't just sit here and pull things out of my, bag and be like, yeah, I think, you just do this. And I really don't know why I think you should do this. I think you should just do it just for the hell of it. I can't say that. You know what I mean? So again, people argue with their doctors all the time. People go into medical setting doctors and they're like, no, I think you should give me a azithromycin instead of Cipro. And the doctor's like, what makes you think you need Cipro instead of azithromycin, Z-Pak? And they're like, oh, because I read it on WebMD, or I got it on YouTube, or I got it on another Dr. Oz or something like that. It's very insulting to the doctor because the doctor's like, so you got your degree on YouTube, right? It's a very funny exchange. You know what I mean? So that's basically what you're doing. You know what I mean? Versus someone who's sitting here 21 years of studying, 21 years of practice, giving real life advices that could prevent all of this from happening in the very, 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 very far beginning. Very beginning, I try to stop this. That's what I'm trying to do now. Now. Let's play this other scenario. Had you listened to me, you could blame me. You could be like, yeah, I did finish the book and it didn't really help. And that's why I'm back to my old ways in my old days. But you didn't. So you can't blame me. I have to blame yourself. So how do we proceed on forward? Number one, let's wait until they actually hit you with a VOP. Then we deal because you have a lot of time.
So I mean, when they hit you with a VOP, it's more of like a pop-up show up, isn't it?
You're gonna get a notice, and then you're going to show up, and then you're gonna tell the judge that, all right, so I realize I have a VOP here, and I'm retaining a lawyer, and so the lawyer's gonna take care of the rest, so we could reset this while I speak to my attorney. So you have 2 months after they hit you with a VOP. You show up, make sure you show up to answer to the VOP. And then, of course, if you think you didn't do anything wrong, you just tell the judge, I'm getting a lawyer for this, so let's reset it so the lawyer can get the drug test or whatever it is that they are alleging you. Alleging. If someone says you pissed into this cup and this cup came back as meth or cocaine or marijuana, well, let the lawyer analyze the panel. Sometimes some panels are inaccurate. Some panels are just weird. The collection date, the collection methods, and all this other stuff. So they may need you to repeat it. I was working a DUI case, and they do random UA 10 panels. I don't know these things. I'm not a drug expert, but when I saw when I saw the results came back, and I was like, "What?" I was reading. I was like, "Whoa, no, there's no way this guy what." So he was negative, and the way how the things came out just weird, whacked out.
Came out positive and it came out negative.
Yeah, they look like that. Looks really strange. I'll find it and give it over to you. You can glance over it, take a look at it.
So
But pretty much all of the scientific vocabulary is used to describe certain drugs in the 10 panels was, and it just hit ding, 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 ding. So again, your lawyer is an expert in that. Lawyers who are expert in drugs and violation of probation, they're really good at that. And you should we have time to deal with it. And this time we deal with it in a more mindful way, more informed. We know what's happening. And if there's a likely chance where you want things fixed based on past decisions that was done in the courtroom, then we'll talk to the lawyer that I have it in mind for you. You know what I mean? So just don't really freak out so much. What my concern for you is, yeah, you didn't kill anybody. It's a VOP. So eventually it's going to be resolved, and you clearly have the money for it. Just don't spend it, don't blow it. There's some things that I like to see for you, which is thinking better, emotional regulation, the depression, the anxiety, all this stuff right here. Go back to CBT.
I need it.
You
say it works, man. Angel, you've been telling me this for a whole year. It's not like you ever gave up on me when it came to explaining it to me. And I appreciate that a lot, because I haven't had many people who've just been there, and many people in the world don't even do that for others.
See the CBT books right here on this counter, right here, this counter right here. You see a yellow book next to that camera? You know, every single day I get messages from students who study CBT and they're like, "You've changed my life, blah blah blah. Thank you so much." Da da da. There's one right in that phone right there. Hold on. You know what? I want you to read it. Why don't you read it yourself? What I get every single day. Every single day I get this on Instagram. Actually today, right? 10:46 a.m. Why don't you read it out loud? Why don't you read it out loud? Read it out loud.
Okay.
You need proof, right? That's what you're looking for is proof, whether it works or not.
I don't even need proof anymore.
Well, whatever. Read it.
But I'll still read it.
That's I want you to. It's very short.
I don't want to waste your time, but I feel obliged to thank you for being a beacon of hope and endless source for reasons to stay strong. Throughout my life dealing with addiction, after traveling to let me read this again. I don't want to waste your time, but I feel obliged to thank you for being a beacon of hope and endless source for my reasons to stay strong throughout my life dealing with addiction. After traveling to India in 2016, I was good until the late 2020s. It's a miracle I'm even alive, to be honest. Stumbling on your TikTok was the catalyst for the healing this past year has brought me. I know I did the work, but you gave me the belief I can. And man, I apologize so much for this novel. I'm sure you get enough DMs like this so often. I hope junkie idiots like me are more concise as to not take time from you to do what you do. I truly wish you all the success in your life cycle. I'm forever grateful for your wisdom and reassurances. I continue to practice how to accept what I can't control. That brings me stress. That brings me stress, and remember your words. The anger, the worry, the whatever, it will pass. I can, and now I am. I hope this isn't too cliche. I hope for you to know my soul truly recognizes and honors yours. Brother, Namas.
Well, anyways, you get the point, right? You get the point. And there are dozens of messages like this every single day. Every single day about CBT. So I mean, you just have to have a conversation with yourself whether or not when are you gonna straighten everything out and when are you gonna learn the skills, because when you step back in that house right there, it is hell, complete hell and chaos with what you're seeing, and it hurts, and it's very troubling for someone like you because you care so much about what's happening in that home, and so therefore you flip out because everyone else in the house is flipping out, acting out, using, and you don't know what to do. You don't know, and you don't know why they're doing it, or you have some clue. CBT helps you understand the why of why other people do what they do, why they're in suffering so much, and why they hoard, why they have OCD. All that has a lot to do with control. You learn all of that in there, so you actually have more compassion for them, and you know how to approach it in a more effective way instead of judging or instead of getting angry. That's what CBT can do for you. It's amazing what that book can do. The book has 50 years of research behind it into fixing people. That's what it does. People were like, "Well, my mind's tripping. How do I understand my mind?" that 300-page book, that's 10th grade level education, 10th grade level reading, tells you everything you need to know about this and this thing and other people in the home. That's what it does. I wouldn't be wasting my time sitting here telling you about this over and over again. And it seems like either you don't get it or you don't want to get it, because you're side because everyone's got that lawyer in their head. It took me a good minute to figure that out. Why why people keep on sitting there arguing with me or arguing with themselves as I'm talking to them. That's because it's natural to have this lawyer in your head. He's trying to tell you I'm wrong. He's trying to tell you don't listen to me. What the hell do I know? It just tells you all these other things in your head, you know. But it seems like you're on track, on point. Just look at your whole life as the entirety of your life. But you can't do that if can't do any better if you don't know any better. And the only way to know better, what is CBT? It's like a very necessary app that you put in your mind. You uninstall all the BS in your mind and you put in some good stuff in your mind, you know, rather than all this other nonsense. And There's a student that is within close quarters that I'm watching and supervising. He's 20 years old. And it's amazing because the first thing was uh, watching how this 20-year-old live his life as the modern day teenager. He's on the phone a lot, Discord, and all these other fun stuff. And then I put out $100 bill and I says, let me give you two sentences. And if you can remember these two sentences, it was actually a law. There were two sentences to this particular law, just for fun. I just wanted to test his memory. It's actually about the law on the handcuff key. Whereas in Florida, if you have a handcuff key and it is not on a key ring, it's a felony. It's a third-degree felony. So I told him briefly about the law, which is very simple. I just said it to you. And then I told him the defense to this law. And what were the defense? I told him, remember these two things. If the handcuff key is on a key ring, you're good. And after you get busted, that means arrested, and they find a handcuff key on you, upon immediately after the arrest, if you effectively and immediately disclose to law enforcement that you have a handcuff key, then it doesn't no longer applies to you. The law, you're not in violation of this law anymore. So I waited for like literally 60 seconds, and then I asked him, yeah, so tell me the defense to these two things again, to the law again. He's like, I forgot. Literally. So I took my $100 bill and I said, you could have had this in your pocket. So I put it down. Then I started to identify why his mind was tripping. Because a 20-year-old that cannot remember two sentences is quite alarming to me. And it just turns out that in the phone, there was so many apps, so many BS, so many conversations and text messages from friends. It just pulls a person's bandwidth away from them. So literally, he's been conditioned to just all over the place in his mind. So when information is needed to retain in the present moment, he doesn't know how to do it. Does not know how to do it. So the student's been in close quarters with me under direct supervision, kind of like probation. And I'm like, get rid of those apps, study CBT, and then I test them. I test them on every other day. I'm like, what did you understand? What did you get in chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5? And memory is improving. I'm getting him a job. Everything is improving. He takes better notes and all this. It's literally reprogramming the mind so that you are aware of what's happening. Just like the example of what happened in court and what happened on the computer screen. Now it's really hard for you to backtrack about what happened because at the time, your mind was tripping, and and I don't blame you because anyone under 25 years old, like I've said before, their mind's always going to be tripping. So understanding that, you realize that everyone was born with a mind that is constantly developing until they're 25. Anyone that's below 25 is literally schizophrenic, literally by the textbook. The textbook says anyone under 25 is pretty much schizophrenic. You'll be bipolar, you'll be depressed, you'll be anxious, you're going to think all sorts of crazy thoughts, you're going to jump to conclusions without evidence. You're going to be paranoid. Yeah, your mind's all over the place.
Yeah, but I was thinking last night too about that whole schizophrenic thing actually, and I came up with that little idea, and I believed it for a second that everybody is schizophrenic. There's just different level of intensities of it.
That could be, especially in this country.
Could be.
But it's our job to focus back on ourselves, not diagnose other people. We got to fix ourselves first before we diagnose other people. You can't be drunk and see other people drunk. You got to be sober to see other people drunk. So you have to fix yourself first. So hopefully, you become a better salesman. You can make more money if you learn to be more mindful. And the first step is the CBT book. You learn how to listen better to customers' needs and wants. Because see customers that walk in and need a phone. Yeah, we get you need a phone, but there's more to it than a phone. They want to feel needed and wanted, and that you give them the full attention. The art of the salesman is to make them feel that they're the most important thing in that room right now. and I'm pretty sure you've heard all sorts of stories. You've only been there for how long?
2 days.
Oh, okay. Well, wait for a couple more days, and you're gonna find out. Baby daddy's away and uh, just out of shelter or homelessness, just the customers that's gonna come in. And if you're able to make them feel special, that I'm here to listen to your story, and I will find you the right plan for your budget right now in your life. They will tell 10 other people, and 10 other people are gonna line up waiting just to hear and see you because you care. So it's when we are mindful and we got our stuff resolved and we're mindful, it makes you become a better salesman, a better worker, a better son, a better whatever, you know? So just reflect on that. How much more money you could be making because of the skills that I'm handing over to you.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? If you were my
Yeah.
son, I would say sit your ass down. You ain't going anywhere. Your girlfriend can come see you twice a week. Your ass is to study this until you're done. If
Yeah.
you were my son, but you're
No,
not.
and if I was your son, that would be cool as hell. It would. It doesn't sound like it sucks. That's awesome dad work.
Because it gets the job done. Because no actual father wants to see their kid struggle out there. And because of what I know about the mind, which is how to take care of the mind when you are alone. The Buddha says two things. He says, be careful what you tell other people when you're around other people, and take care of your mind when you are alone. And if I take your phone away from you, shut Wi-Fi off in this room, and you are alone with your mind, oh shit, all sorts of hell is gonna come in an instant, like that. If I told you to close your eyes and just focus on your breath, you can't do it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be really hard, really hard. Now, a lot of dads don't have this kind of brain that I have to understand how their kids. That's why some of the fathers you see in the world do the foolish things that they do, like drink, get drunk, prostitute, cheating, lying, killing, and stealing, and then their kids all watching this because so it's a life of regret. It's a life of regret knowing that you are a father, you could not lead the house, you're not a leader, and then your kid's gonna follow in your footsteps because of bad behavior in the home. So, when I'm stepping into your life or any other young student's life, which is in the many around here, if I didn't give up on you, I didn't give up on anybody. I'm still here for you. I'm here for everybody that's locally here. It's the same. It's the same advice, and I have to fix literally the whole unit by focusing on one student, hoping to fix the whole unit of family. But if you think your only family is messed up, you should hear some of the stuff that's going on on the other side of town. And these are real conversation. This is real talk. And I just want you can get better within a week or two with finishing a 300-page book, the right book to read. Not any other novel BS you see. There's so many. The problem and the other problem is there's so many stuff, so much information in the world, so you don't know which one that you should be focusing on. So when I step into your life, you're like, what the hell? Out of a million books, why does he point this thing to me? And of course, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the book says dummies, and it doesn't help when it says therapy. Because anytime when a book says dummies and therapy, you think that you're a dummy and you think that there is something psychologically very, very wrong with you. But the word therapy, all it actually means is information. So it's actually cognitive behavioral information. So all therapy is just information. And when you said that I need to talk to somebody or counseling or therapy, that means you're sitting. That's what I'm doing here with you.
Yeah.
All it is I'm updating you right
And
here.
then that book too, that whatever I would learn from that book by myself is what the therapist would just teach me.
Right. Because all of them are trained in CBT. Every single one of them. Every medical doctor, every nurse practitioner, and every licensed mental health counselor and licensed social worker, LCSW, LMHCs, have to know CBT. So I'm basically giving you something to be your own doctor. And you see what our philosopher says? That if you are not your own doctor, then you are a fool.
That's real. When I was 16, I was somewhere along those lines of actually being able to realize that, and then I just lost it.
Mm.
That's right, because I was like, I remember sitting there, yeah, mom's not probably doesn't want to take a shower today, dad doesn't, and I have these obsessions of how I want it to be like this. It has to be like this. I need to see that to be able to do that. But it's like after a while, and this happened when I was it started at the end of 15 years old. I was sitting there slowly starting to realize I can't control these things, but I can control myself. But it's like, it's just sad that, there could be this time in your life where you were so capable of being able to do that. You return back to this phase where it feels like it might start off as impending doom. You get past that, then there's the whole depressive state. Now you think that this depression is causing anxiety. Now you start thinking that you've had anxiety, and then it just keeps going. And it's like you want to sit there. I'm sure there was a time of your life where you tried to be happy and it was difficult. And then there was that time of your life where you had got healed from a lot of that by yourself. You did it all on your own. People didn't give you the cheat codes, or maybe they did, but it came to like doctors. Yeah, you try to listen to everyone else or whatever and take everyone else in, or just take yourself in. But then you realize it wasn't as effective as a doctor being able to do it. And then if you start thinking as for yourself as a doctor, I'm rambling at this point, but take care of yourself like you're a doctor, you're your own doctor, and you probably won't need a doctor in the future.
It is one of the hardest thing ever to do, because we're using the one thing that causes us a lot of problems to fix its darn self. Yeah, we're using the mind to fix the mind. That's why it's so difficult. So you need the best available science to tame this thing, literally crack the whip on this thing. And so the question is, what is the best available science out there? Cognitive behavioral therapy. All you got to do is Google the damn thing, or put it on YouTube, and you realize how many articles and doctors use it for people.
Doctors will take from that book and actually teach you coping mechanisms that you should have been learning in the household your entire life or something, but that education was not available. That's what it came down to. It's just like, as I'm saying this, I'm looking back to like the time when I did realize this a lot younger. And I'm like, dang, I'm really, really, really close to breaking that mental chain. Yeah. I just don't want to get a little too far over my head.
Well, it's a good desire to have, because you gotta ask yourself, when is this suffering gonna stop?
Yeah.
And as long as you're in that house, that suffering is gonna continue. It's like cancer being in that house. So all you're watching is all this nonsense unfold. And if you don't get better, Kelly's not gonna get better. If you don't change, Kelly's not gonna change. Because how do other people change? Based on our actions. They change because we change. We inspire by and through our own change. Simple.
It's like leading by example, not an explanation.
Right.
And like not having a wishbone, but being able to develop a backbone.
Yeah, however Kelly is living her life, and however your parents are jumping in to help her legally, legal fees and all that, it's all up on her. It's all up on them. You have to take care of you, and never think that people are going to stick around and help you when you're in trouble. The Buddha says the other thing is that no one can save you, no one can, and no one may. You must save yourself. So that means even if I was a Buddha sitting here, I still can't save you. So you have to know how to hold your own fort, be your own man and leader. So
this is awesome.
I think you're doing fine. Just be patient. Just relax. Go back to the book.
I think you're cool as hell, Angel. No, I'm serious, man. Like, you sit here every single day looking for these people who even like give you a hint or an idea of what direction you need to go in. And it's like I'll talk to 99 people before I meet at least one person who just knows what they're talking about. This is something that's been on their mind for years. They understand what I'm speaking about, or I understand what they're speaking about. And then when I give that one person that opportunity, it doesn't mean that every time I give that one person out of that 99 people, that this is who they are, this is like, I know them and this and that. I mean, it's not even just that. That's not the point. The point is like, I'll sit here and I'll listen to them, right? And, along the way, it's very subjective. It's not structured. There is no infrastructure. There is, the idea that they have this year, it's a different idea next year. And then it's a different idea next year. But talking to you, I've met a person who's been able to recollect and keep the structure of themselves and been able to offer that advice to other people. I can't get this from my brother. I can't get this from my older sister who graduated from UCF and she's a successful, positive, driving person. I can't get that from mom or dad either. And it makes me a little sad, but I'm past all of that now. I know that, hey, it's out of my control. I can't keep obsessing over this. I need to be in control of me.
I don't just sit here and talk to people every day. I'm actually out and about a lot, and I just submitted half of my book that I was. Were you aware that I was writing my own book?
Yeah.
That they asked me to write my
Yeah.
write my, and I actually submitted half of it, not a little bit less than half of it. So, and I'm like 2 months behind on my original deadline, so I have to go back to finishing it. But there's a lot that I do. I have a lot of programs that I'm engaged in, and I'm planning to travel out of the country in the next 2 months. So my these are some of the last advices to take to heart very seriously and not forget. There's people out there that I only speak to once or twice, but they remember it the whole year, and the whole year they're working on themselves, and they have a different program that they're going through, and you know what I mean? They take it, and they don't even live in St. Pete. I've talked to people worldwide: Australia, Canada, Belgium, Nigeria, France. Everywhere, and they all kind of have different recommendation, but also similar recommendations, like the CBT. And you got to think that you are not alone. That there are other people out there that is in the same program that's doing the same thing. You know, it's like Buddhists. It's like we Buddhists sit and meditate. Well, I'm not the only one that sits and meditate. There, there are hundreds and millions of people in the world that sits and meditate. So when you think about that, you realize you're not alone when you pick up this book. You're not alone when you meditate. There's plenty of people that are doing it. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So the best way to again get better, get well, make more money is to return back to what I've already told you in a year ago. You think
2
about,
years ago.
okay, well, 2 years ago, and think that 2 years ago, if your mind was straight at the time of intervention, where could you have been today, and the amount of money that you could be saving today, or saving and making in this very day. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And there's not a darn thing that you have done that I have not done before becoming a monk. That's why it leads to so many insight. That's why you're getting so much informed insight about what to do when you're in trouble, what to do when things are out of control and stuff like that. It's because I'm 35, I've lived through all these stages, and I have to watch my friends go through them too. So we're in the same crappy boat. And then I'm using everything I remember growing up and how fixed myself and what I had to study and all the years in therapy and college education at Eckerd College to now help any individual that's going through the same thing. Because the problem lies that school don't even teach this. So therefore, of course, you guys.
And you're bringing up some very familiar information.
Mm.
Like, this information is all familiar. Like, if it wasn't you being here and being able to teach me this and remind me what it's like and all these, like, this is what it is, It's like, I don't know.
Oh, you know what?
Starting to get slow.
The other thing that I forgot to mention is that no matter what girl that you're with, you also need to see how her mind is tripping. And the CBT book helps improve your relationship, love life, and sex life because when communication is better, sex just becomes better. That's a fact.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing worse than you're dating a girl who's tripping and you don't understand why she's tripping. You can't relate to her. She can't relate to you. And you can't help her solve her problem. And she's stuck with these problems and you're watching her suffer. Ain't nothing worse than that. Nobody.
That's horrible.
Yeah, nobody can enjoy dinner, meal, nothing, lunch, dinner, breakfast when that happens. So if you care about her, any girl, the one that you're with, and if you're gonna stretch it a long time, you need to look at how is the quality of my relationship with her. How have I been able to help her, and be there for her, be a leader in the home, and help her straighten out her mind. Because even if she was a perfect girl today, even if she's a perfect girl now, her mind will jump depending on her age and depending on what's happening in her life, in her family, and her friends. All these things that will pull her away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Constant forces, unseen forces that will pull her away from you. You have to be able to recognize that. You have to feel that and know how to fix it when it comes.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, and then we also talk about like how the brain jumps or how the heart can jump. And she has a lot of self discipline when it comes to that. Way more better than me, that's for sure. I've been able to see it, notice it. She brings me all the receipts. I'll sit there. We're on FaceTime, right? And I ask her, "Hey, share your screen." It takes less than 2 seconds for her to turn her screen on. That's how I know she's not going into messages, deleting anything. She's not this. So by the time it's time to go and look at this and look at this, there are no issues. Like, before I dealt with a lot of insecurity from females who didn't, they were actors. Okay. It was all a facade. They just wanted the greatest idea of what a man could bring to them. And if I was one of those potential people, then, I would be one of the hoes. That's how I see it. They got multiple ride outs or they got multiple guys. But with this, and because I've seen that from multiple devious women, I now know what it looks like, what it feels like, you sit there with this doubt for a little bit, this negativity for a little bit, and then you try to like correct yourself and you're like, oh, I'm being negative. I need to start being positive. And then you lose that ability to calculate this insecurity. But with this girl, I was sitting here and trying my butthole off to calculate this this insecurity that will come, and it never comes. It's like I'm psyching myself out, and I've been with her for like 6+ months, and I just keep psyching myself out, and then it's like, okay, well, where I'm at in this month, I'm like, I trust her. Every time that I've chosen not to trust her, she's been able to prove me wrong. And she shouldn't have to be able to do that. I should be secure enough as a man, but she chose me in one of like my most difficult times, and I express that a lot. And the craziest thing is, she has a father who owns 10 houses, 10 houses, 10 properties, 2 nail shops. He bought his wife a $50,000 Porsche. He's a very successful man. He wants to pay for his daughter's college. He's paid for his older sister's college, his older daughter's college. And he's just done a lot for his family and everything. And I don't know how she's able to have a man like that in her life, but choose a man like me. Because from the very get-go, I showed her the darkness. I showed her my dark side. I showed her my bad habits. It was no like me bringing my greatest idea of what a man is to this woman. I just knew I wouldn't be able to keep that lie up. And so I had to come clean in the beginning because I wanted her to, hey, if at least we're going to split apart, we split apart for a valid reason. We didn't split apart because I was Billy the actor for months, years, weeks. And then now I'm sitting here in despair and I don't even know my own identity. Now I have a dilemma. No, it wasn't.
So if she's more disciplined than you, and if she's more on point than you, then you see where you're lacking. See that? You have to impress her and get it together so that both of you guys are on point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when someone's lacking, she's gonna feel like,
oh, now I got baby next to me.
right? I feel like babysitting.
Yeah.
At least psychologically, physically, you're there for her. Financially, you're there for her. But she needs someone that can, have some companionship in regards to psychological strength, psychological equality, so that it keeps the conversation interesting and you keep the fire going. So again, you have a lot to reflect on, and all that can be fixed with just CBT. I'm telling you, if I think that you couldn't get better, wouldn't get better, I wouldn't have given the recommendations that I gave to you. But I gave you a very simple one. It was one of the simplest recommendations I've ever given to anyone. I don't have to babysit you. There are students out there where I'm like, yeah, you need to check in with me every other day, just because you gonna need some supervision. You off the chain right now. You're not one of them. And I know eventually you would always find yourself back and reel yourself in. Just be aware of the lawyer in your head and the advice that's being given to you. Just if you would suffer less if you just listen to the advice and you just do it and not sit there too long, too hard and siding with the lawyer in your head. But you got it. Just keep working. It's only been 2 days. You need to pass the 90-day probation with working. Yeah, they told you that, right?
No.
3 months. 3 months probation in Florida. 3 months probation when it comes to working. They can let you go within 90 days. for any reason they want. So you need to keep it together as much as you can.
Wait, what is this? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
So labor law,
Okay.
90 days probation. You need to pass 90 days probation before they retain you as actual, now you work for us type status.
Like in at a job or
Any job.
okay. So after 90 days, they want to hold you,
No.
or
After
what?
90 days, you are officially, yay, in the door. Don't think that you're in the door yet. That's my point.
Oh, Ginger. Yeah.
They within 90 days, they're watching you, they're evaluating you, and they're assessing you to see your performance and evaluation. So within 90 days, they can let you go for any reason they want.
Okay.
Or they can't discriminate you. They can't say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna let you go because you're Asian." Then they get sued. But they can say that you're ineffective or inefficient and let you go.
Yeah.
And with all young students such as yourself, my job is to make sure you guys are effective and efficient, meaning get up on time, shower, shave, out the door, dress exactly like that. See where your belt is, and your shirt has to align up with the buttons. The belt buckle has to align up with the buttons on point, because your managers and everybody else who's stepping in the store is going to look for that. They're going to be like, well, if that is all the way to the left, all the way to the right, that means your whole life is to the left or the right and not on point. Right?
Yeah.
Like when the last time you seen a cop where his gun is like, on his right cheek, it's like, excuse me, your gun's all the way where your ass is. Can you even pull that damn thing when you need to? Right? Everyone's on point. Lawyers are on point with their suit and tie. So therefore, as a salesman, you need to appear like a professional. You have to command respect and trust, because they're walking in, they're spending money. If they can't trust you and they have no confidence in you, they're gonna find somebody else. Like, excuse me, do you have another person I can talk to? The guy over there is not on point right now. People judge when you don't think. When you think that they don't judge, they do. And when you think just because they dress like that and they walk in, they don't pay attention to the small details on you, they do. So wear that clean. Clothes need to smell good. 2 pens on the pocket. It shows that you're ready, you're available, and you're on point. So these are things that you need to research on YouTube. How to talk like a salesman, how to look like a professional, the art of selling, whatever the hell that you're selling, either the chair you're sitting on or a phone or a diamond. Because I used to be a diamonds dealer. I used to sell a rock for $50,000. If I can sell a rock for $50,000, I can sell the chair that you're sitting on right now, all day, every day.
So if I could sell a bag of shit, then I could sell a $50,000 diamond ring.
No, a bag of crap does not mean that everyone's gonna buy it. When I say I could sell a rock for $50,000, that means it's literally a diamond is a rock that has been under pressure for so long, and then they cut the darn thing and it sparkles, and then now we attach this meaning to this diamond, like, oh, it's gonna last forever. Oh, it's the hardest substance on earth. It scores on a 9 on the Mohs scales, MOHS scale. And if you want to show your love to her, you should buy a big diamond. So what's your budget like? And then fool people into buying a darn diamond with all the science we know about a diamond, the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, um, and and so and then you sell the goddamn thing. And then people are like, oh, okay, here's my credit card. So basically, in essence, they just paid for a rock that will actually eventually chip and can chip and can break. There's a weak point on a diamond. They don't know that. We don't tell them that. We don't tell them a lot of things. Our job is to make money. So if I can sell a rock with all the attached meanings to it, then I could just sell that chair you're sitting on and say, oh, look, it's made in Vietnam. Vietnam's great and quality is better than China. And it's actually made in Vietnam for real, by the way. Yeah. The paint on there is going to last for 5 years instead of 2 years from stuff you buy at Walmart, and just pull things out of the sky, blue market, whatever, just to make the sale. But in Buddhism, they teach you to be honest, So anyways, that's for later. You just do CBT first.
Okay. Or do both?
You can, because what are you doing on your free time, right? Besides
Nothing.
smoking and drinking.
I don't drink.
or whatever. I don't know that. I don't.
Yeah.
You just need to look at the time that you have in one day at night and what you're doing with it and how well you're getting better at this. You know,
Thanks for reminding me because I actually forgot about that.
every day people forget. The problem is we think we have time, said the Buddha, and you don't. You have a watch on you?
Come,
Huh?
come.
Okay, well, you need to get one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because
But I'm
you.
trying to buy. I'm trying to like be on like a like you know like I'm trying to get like a $10 watch.
Yeah, that you need to get a $10 watch just because so that you can realize I've been sitting here thinking about BS for 2 hours. What the hell am I doing sitting here for BS for 2 hours? Because you do that. You know what I mean? Or I'm sitting here smoking like, 4 or 5 straws here or a pack of cigarettes in an hour. You'll catch yourself. And the last thing I remember telling you was keep a journal, keep a diary or a journal. Dear journal, today was my first day at work. I walked in, I met the manager, and these are the people that I'm working with. These are the people that walked in. This is what they trained me. This is what I needed to know. And these are the
Oh
phones.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, because I was thinking about like, okay, if I get into all of this, take it really seriously, I get this second, third chance. I want to spend my night studying on character development. You know what I mean? Like I want to, like, yo, you just spent your whole 4 hours going home playing video games and got mad at everyone for trying to bother you about playing your game. Guess what I did? I was locked up away in my room, sitting there, looking in the mirror. Oh, this is what I look like. Okay, so I'm gonna say these words, and this one I don't know. That's a little too in depth, but just trying to like study for like what you learned that day. Like, okay, this is the information that I gained today. What do I do with it so that I can be prepared for tomorrow? That's where I want to be at. That's it.
So
I can do it.
Before you leave, I'm going to give you a journal. And every day when you do something, you write it down. You write down your feelings, your thoughts, what you did today, what you accomplished, and what you hope to improve within yourself. Selling skills, studying skills, listening skills. Yes.
I do believe that I have a journal at home. I bought this book from Five and Below. It's called All About Me, and it has like a bunch of like
Yeah, no.
every day, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the date,
Oh,
time.
okay.
You put in what your accomplishments are for today, what you have set for tomorrow, and it's like pretty much all templates.
Okay, well, the one I'm giving you is not that fancy,
Okay.
but it reminds you to get your ass back together, get it, reel it back in. And if you do what I say, you'll get better. If not, it's your boat, not mine. You know what I'm saying? But we call that self-reflection. The journal helps you see things unfold in your life. And of course, if you're lacking something, you will catch it. Let's say you're sleeping like 12 hours a day. Yeah. Dear journal, I went to sleep at 1 in the morning and then I woke up at 12 p.m. You write that 5 times a day or 3 times a day in a week, you're gonna realize, what am I doing with my life? How did I go to sleep at 1 and sleep all the way? Am I depressed? Am I tripping right now? You would catch it. But if you didn't write that down, your behavior would go unnoticed and it becomes a habit. And then your habit become routine. And then you're just gonna realize it's normal, it's nothing wrong with this, screw everybody. So again, it's very therapeutic. And kids these days, I learned, don't know how to write. They write on their phone. And they can't even spell because of autocorrection.
The moment that they write their words out, they realize how, like for me personally, I went from being a texter to writing down my thoughts and my feelings. And then when I wrote it down, I just saw and noticed how all over the place it was. I'm jumping from talking about, oh, I'm trying my best to be happy in life. I want a 2020 Honda Accord or maybe a Tesla, $35,000. And then I'm like, I jump from that to like, oh, my girlfriend's pretty cool, this and that. Like, and then I go from that to like, oh, my family life. But then this is like almost like the next either sentence or two sentences, and I'm noticing that that's how my brain is because that's how my brain's thinking. So what I'm thinking is coming out on a piece of paper. This is my creativity, but my creativity is coming out as impulsivity or something. That's what I think it is. I think there's a better word for it, but
and also as you're studying CBT, you're gonna need to take notes. So the journal access notes and daily activities too. You just grow so fast if you just follow the darn recommendation. When I was younger, I had a conversation with myself. I was an angry, small little kid that felt like the world didn't understand my world. So I had a conversation with my darn self. Whatever's unfolding in my life, I wrote it down and I reflected on it and I thought about it. in order to really fully understand myself. That's the problem these days. People don't understand themselves. So the journal will help you do that. It will help you understand you the most. If you don't understand you, how can you accept you for who you are? How can you love yourself for who you are? And when people don't love themselves or understand themselves or accept themselves for who they are, they will seek validation on the outside, validation from other people. And then when they break up with other people, they feel worthless, no
They're
self-value.
experiencing despair.
Right.
There's a book about something like that. It's called No Longer Human.
Mm.
You read it?
Mm-mm.
It's a book. It's a Japanese book, and it's the summary basically goes something along
No
the lines
longer
of-
human.
Yeah, the summary basically goes something along the lines of there's this kid, and when he was born, he had a fear of communicating with people,
Mm.
and so growing up, by the time he hit elementary school, he became a class clown. He was the dude who would try to make everybody laugh and put on this Joker facade, put on this full personification. So like he was the type of dude where you could ask him, "Hey, I dare you to eat that bug." He would eat that bug to make everyone laugh and get this reaction.
Mm.
So he's like he has this like persona for years and years and years, and he finally becomes a teenager and he's like 17, and he meets this person. And his entire life, no one is able to see through his facade, his Joker full facade. No one can understand him and why he is the way he is. But then there's this one person that finally understands him, finally tells him, "I can see through your bullshit. I know you're not happy. I know you're struggling with depression. I know you feel, despair." And his reaction to that is, he finally meets this one person who can understand him. And you know what he wants to do? Kill him.
Mm.
Strange, man. Like,
Mm.
but hey, some people are like that.
Yeah, it is in the world. So you have to understand yourself so you don't become like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Become suicidal or homicidal.
And the thing that actually really hit me was hearing the summary of the book. I was able to like see this in my brother. He's always had this fear of interacting with people, getting close to people. He will make sure that you don't get close to him. How does he do it? He doesn't say too much, and he'll save it for the next day, the next week, the next month. Number one. Number two, he uses silence. Number three is what you will allow is what will continue to happen.
Mm.
And so he was always like so prepared. Call it manipulation, call it whatever. He would make sure no one got close to him. Like
trust.
Yeah, it might not even be that. It's just the fear of getting close to people. When you get close to people, they can hurt you.
Yeah, they can
Very easily.
And people are very dangerous.
Yeah. And you never know.
See, the Buddha, he's always alone. The Buddha's always alone. See, the Buddha's just chilling. You don't ever see nobody near him. Exactly what I said, right? Be careful what you say when you're around other people, and take care of your thoughts when you're alone. That came from him. I didn't say that. He did. So, and the second thing the Buddha said, I'd rather walk alone than to walk with fools. So your life, but you didn't remember. There you have it. So in your life, start studying who's going to be a fool and who is the wise. And the fool is always going to tell you, come this way, quick money, cheat, lie, kill, steal, guns, drugs. That's a fool. And the wise is the one that's going to tell you what I'm telling you now, what to do to return back to yourself and discipline yourself. Don't cheat, don't kill, don't lie, don't steal, don't do drugs, put the gun down, put the knife down. The peaceful way of life.
That's why I'm always that's why I'm always talking back to my mom in my head. She'll sit there. I'll be like, "Mom, I'm gonna quit smoking weed. Today's my last day. I'm done. That blunt that you just saw me pick up and finish, that was it." She'll sit there and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, đúng rồi. Tại sao con không có hút một cái nữa cho nó khỏe đi?" I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Is she an idiot? Is she retarded?" Like those two words come to me. It's because she's playing the role of a fool.
That, and you don't have to justify it to anyone. You do it for you. You don't need anyone else to share that with. You need to have a conversation. Again, back to the conversation with yourself, is that you do it for you and for your health and well-being. No one needs to know about it, nor do they really care. They got their own mess to deal with, especially with the situation that's going on at home. Everyone's got their own mess to deal with. So of course you're going to tell them good news. They're not going to believe you. And that's even a good thing. When they don't believe you, you really prove it to them. Now this is what this is what I actually really gave up. Whether you believe it or not, I gave it up. I've been giving it up for a year. So it's a proud thing to say. Self-esteem.
I know exactly what you're talking about too. It's like if you tell people what you're going to do and you don't do it, then you failed them and yourself because now you both see it. But if you keep it to yourself, only you know you failed.
Yeah. So, okay, well, as long as you remember everything that we're talking about here.
So the two defenses for a handcuff key is if you have it on a key ring, then that's okay. But you have to also tell them that you have this handcuff key ring while they're speaking to you, and not when you're sitting there in the police car after they've searched you. Oh, that's not it? Do you have to tell them prior to the convo?
After you've been arrested, you need to.
Oh, hold on.
It is a defense to the law if the handcuff key is on a key ring. It is a defense to the law if the key is immediately disclosed after arrest. Let's say you put it in your pocket or whatever it is, and then you got arrested for some odd reason. I mean, so let's say they're looking for you. You look like a guy that they're looking for, and then you just so happen to be someone who carries a handcuff key on you, and they jump on you to put cuffs on you. But then immediately the cuffs are put on you. You realize you're being under arrest, and you are told you're under arrest, and you told the cop, "Listen, I got this key on me, so I need to let you know because I was taught that I need to let you know right away that I have this handcuff key on me."
Okay.
Then they can't charge you.
And then what did they try to charge you? Then it's all.
That's why we have body cams nowadays.
So what did they try to charge you?
That you tell them exactly what I'm telling you here.
Could you get the whole case dismissed for whatever?
Sure, you could.
Whatever they also charged you with.
Sure, you could, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be other witnesses around too, which includes other cops.
So that's actually some very viable information, because if you were arrested for something else, right? I mean, I'm sure you would still be given the time or like the sentence for that other charge.
Here's the deal with criminal law. Those who study this type of details are either you're for the law or you're against the law in order to know certain details about possession charges, constructive possessions, and so on and so on. When it comes to weapons charge, anything that you're touching and you know too much about it, either you're enforcing the law or you want to break the law. That's why you know this much amount of details for it. So again, to live a simple life, the Buddha gave us 5 precepts. Don't kill, don't steal, don't, lie, refrain from sexual misconduct, don't rape nobody, and refrain from intoxicating substance. If you just follow those 5 simple basic rules, then you would never touch the law, and the law would never touch you.
Refrain from intaking intoxicating substances.
Refrain from intoxicating substances. Anything that could make your mind trip, don't touch it. When you're out drinking, don't drink to the point where you'd have no idea what planet you're on, who you're with, and what you're doing. You need to know exactly what's unfolding. Keep yourself composed. That's why people make mistakes, and they always blame it on alcohol. Oh, I was drunk. Oh, I did it with this girl, or I stole something, or I hit somebody because I was drunk. I was a mad drunk. They blame it, and the root cause is you didn't take the precept. In Buddhism, they make it very easy for you to practice. There's a 3-fold training. The first one is to behave. So that way you can meditate. And after you meditate, wisdom arises. You become the wise. Okay? So behave so that when you close your eyes, you don't have to think about police jumping on you while you're sitting underneath a tree trying to meditate. And then when you meditate, you will learn so much about what you need to learn that you become a wise person. Then everyone else follows underneath your footsteps as a leader. And so for those who, learn too much about the law, well, because they're trying to break it. You know what I mean?
What if someone went from breaking the law and then learning about wanting to break it to enforcing it?
Okay, well, time to go to police academy or the law school.
You got to go to college to be a police officer?
In St. Petersburg, here you do have 2 years required.
Oh, yeah.
State law does not require. The last time I checked, it only required high school diploma. But now a lot of counties require at least 2 years of college, so that the cops make less mistakes. Because sometimes you know more about the law than they do. That's why I see all these YouTube shorts and YouTube videos about people putting cops in their place. Let me see your ID. Really? I don't have to show you my ID. And then there's that. There's always that constant back and forth. I haven't committed a crime. I don't have to show you my ID. There's always back and forth about that.
I think that's BS. I think you should just show your ID and then get out of the situation.
Yeah. Every day in America, we have this issue.
Because people are trying to break the law in some type of way, or they've broken the law in some type of way, and like it would make it more suspicious and obvious that someone had violated in some type of way if they were not just so willingly to cooperate.
So up to you. You want to be a cop? Well, keep your nose clean, or at least for a good minute, and get this past you. PTI program, and get it past you, and show to the department that wherever you're going to be a lawyer or a cop, it doesn't matter. You have to prove to the board that you've changed, you've matured, and you've changed, and that you are going to be the right person for the right job, for the right reason.
I would only be able to be a paralegal. I couldn't get to lawyer status.
That's okay. You doubt yourself. I don't doubt you can.
No, it's not even that. It's just I've met someone who's so similar to me and went through the same exact charges, went through PTI at my age, and they're a paralegal now. They actually look really familiar to me. They look real similar to me.
What makes you think you can't become a lawyer?
Once you pretty much have like a felony on your record and it's not sealed or expunged, it's pretty difficult to be a lawyer.
Right, but not impossible. See the big difference? I
don't know. I'd rather just be something else, work my money up, save, do with that, work hard for 2 to 3 years, take that money, open up a nail shop, and do 60-40.
Okay.
That's fun.
Businessman. More simpler.
Yeah, I like the nail shop idea. I think it's really cute. I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing.
And you understand all the drama that goes on inside a nail shop?
Okay, so we're talking about drama. We're talking about
a nail shop.
Yeah, but drama.
Yeah, you don't think there's drama in nail shops? What kind of people do you think work in there? Have you seen some of the YouTube videos about people getting into fights over customers?
African Americans coming in and then shooting Asian shops up, robbing them, and then arguments.
No, Asian versus Asian inside of the nail shop that works together.
Oh, so they both work together?
Asians getting into fights over customers, over who gets who first.
We don't have to worry about that if everyone gets their own clientele.
Nah, hopefully you're the next leader in business. We got a lot of issues in the nail industry.
I don't know. I would just hope that my employees have their own clientele base or can develop it.
Hope.
Yeah. I don't want to hire anyone who doesn't have any experience, who doesn't have their own clientele portfolio.
You don't have a choice. You know how competitive the nail industry is? You ever heard that word?
Well, tới lúc làm á, tới lúc mượn người ta phải không? Rồi trả người ta, mượn trả người ta. Là mình ngồi đó, mình làm cái việc làm trước. Let's say me and my girlfriend, right? We sit there and we start with that. We start working first.
Pause for a second. How much is this place paying you to sell phones, buy phones, whatever?
18.
An hour?
Plus commissions. And then the Wi-Fi boxes right now are free, so we can convince the customer to get the Wi-Fi box to give us $7 commission through through ACP program, Affordable Connectivity Program.
I paused it because you're Vietnamese, and there's a doctor's office right now that's hiring for front desk. And I bet you if you go in there and tell them $22 an hour.
You're talking about that chiropractor office?
No.
Oh.
No. There's another doctor's office. I bet you if you walk in there and you said $22 to $25 an hour, I bet you they'll say yes if you want to try it.
Yeah, I want to speak Vietnamese more.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been doing it a lot lately. When I'm by myself or with Emmy, I just speak Vietnamese.
You work tomorrow? What time?
I work tomorrow 9 to 7.
Oh, shoot. So what days are you off?
I don't have my schedule here.
You have a resume?
Yeah, on Indeed. I
Okay.
can take screenshots and email it over.
Yeah.
And I got to make it a little longer because
Why don't you email it to me so that I can advocate for you for this job? And
yeah,
if you can make 22 to 25 an hour, your life will be a lot better. I didn't realize, what a Metro paid 18 an hour. Damn.
and they're not even busy.
Maybe I should stop being a monk and go sell phones instead.
You know how much I was making at Special Fund? You know how much I was making at Special Fund?
Huh?
22 to 28 on working 5 to 6 hours a day.
On average, really?
Yeah,
I'll be damned.
they paid very good. I miss it. That was probably like the best job I ever had, honestly.
You quit or got fired?
Yeah, let go.
Why?
Oh,
because you were dating that girl at the
No.
time or something.
No, because Angela, she wanted to save money, and she wanted to have more submissive people.
Oh,
working for her.
management issues, control issues.
Yeah,
Oh.
OCD and all
Micromanagement.
that. Yeah, but yeah, it's just funny. We both got fired. I try to sit there and think about it, and I'm like, you weren't even paying me.
Well, y'all, I don't know. Y'all was off the chain too. Just because of what you told me at the time you were working, just from the reports that you were telling me, you were also not on point like you should be. Effectiveness and efficiency.
I only told you that because that's what she was saying. I was just basically telling you what the manager was telling me, and
But your performance, your overall performance and wanting to be at work wasn't really, wasn't really on point. The wanting to be
I
at work.
mean, I think it was. I think it was
Mm.
her constantly like berating me. I can take criticism during that time, but it's like if you're gonna berate me and it's not constructive criticism,
Mm.
what like you're ruining my energy. Like it's like she didn't want to let me go,
Mm.
but she wanted me to let myself go.
Oh, I see.
And that's what was going on because I did a good job of holding myself together. I know you come in there. I think I was like almost running the spot. Like when you came in, it was like chill mode. You know, it was very quiet. There wasn't a lot of customers. But when it was busy, I got down to working. I can see the tasks that I was handling and like how efficiently I was doing it compared to Max,
Mm.
or just compared to the other workers. And I believe I did a good job. I got a lot of reviews, never got any bad reviews. Probably from like this Vietnamese lady one time, but that's because I called her Ba instead of what's the one above Ba?
Back.
Bak. Yeah, instead of calling her Bak, I called her like Ba. Yeah. Is that right?
Who cares? Backbat's the same crap. If they're emo about that, just tell them, go back to Vietnam and sit underneath the tree.
Yeah, they complained to the owner about it. They called in the next day and everything. I was like,
They need a new life.
yeah.
So, anyways, send me the resume, and then hopefully, if you want, especially you want to improve that. I think that back in the day. Oh yeah, I did. I did try to train you as an interpreter,
Yeah.
but you were just all over the place.
Oh yeah, during that time I was crazy. Loopy.
You like office work?
Yeah. I actually prefer office work over like pizza making or like, a restaurant.
So my dad's got tax season coming up, doing taxes, and he's got immigration cases at his office that requires you to speak it, read it, write it. Not really much write it, but just know the basics of it. So let's see how you do, with that. See what your days off are like, so that you can shadow over here. I try to jump into your life, and intervene, and try to give you a job, which I did. I told you these are the assignments I need you to go on, so I can test you, like I did to Max. You didn't take the opportunity. Had it's been 2 years, had you taken that opportunity, you would have been on point. You'd be making $55 to $75 an hour right now instead of 18. You can't blame me. So I jumped in and I told you about it. I said, here, address, time, show up. Doo-doo-doo. See? So I don't know. You need to have conversations though about when am I going to start listening to the wise? I don't want to hold you any longer. I'm pretty sure you're sleepy by now. I tend to hold people for like 2 or 3 hours.
I'm not even tired, but it's a good suggestion just to take care of myself and be on track. Sometimes I lose track of time and I stay for too long at many places.
That's why you check in with me once a week or every other day, so that you have someone staying on top of you,
Yeah.
so that you stay on top of yourself. Especially, I'm still here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And then when it's
and
time
you
for me
wanna
to
be, and you
travel,
want to be here for me.
right?
You're giving me an opportunity, and like back to the thing when you said it's my boat. Like you're helping me, not you have your own boat. I have my boat, but you're making sure that my boat isn't sinking, and people don't do that. And that's another thing. People do that, but the thing is, like, when you brought up the whole like the fools and the wise, I feel like the wise, that you, they'll help your boat not sink. It doesn't have to be financially. It doesn't, just listen to whatever advice they're saying, basically. And if that advice isn't sinking your boat, stop pretending like it is. A lot of people, they'll convince themselves that their boat is sinking because of the criticism they receive. But is that criticism? Is that, are they intending to sink your boat? Are they intending to make sure your boat stays afloat?
Mm.
That's what it is, man.
You've given much thoughts. That's what we need. See, you're a thoughtful guy, analytical thinker, smart. Now, a lot of people can go that far. As soon as they get criticism, they're like, want to jump off the Skyway Bridge. Can't think far. Short-sighted. That's what we call it. Short-sighted. Cannot see the long run of certain things. In college, our professor said, when someone says something bad about you, you're a loser, you're this, you're that, you're slow. The professor taught us to actually open our hands and said, tell me more. Because that's where you can change. That's where you can see the possibility of change, whether they're right or wrong. You're the one who decides they're right or wrong. You don't have to agree to them. If someone calls you dumb, are you in fact dumb? If someone calls you a dog, well, the first thing is to look behind you, see you have a tail.
I don't even think it really matters, because the thing is, we let these temporary emotions get in the way of our future, and we may create permanent mistakes. These temporary emotions are what make it. These temporary negative emotions are what keep us stuck. You're sitting there, your boss tells you, you just got criticized, you couldn't handle it. They bring you outside to talk to you about it. I've actually had this experience before. Your boss sits there and explains, hey, you're gonna have days where you're getting criticized. You're gonna have days where you're berated. It's not just you. Corporate hits me too as a general manager. Da 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 da. Regional manager hits me. Da da da. You're not the only one who's receiving it. Me as a GM, it took me being able to get through that. They won't explain that side of it, but they'll sit there and they'll be like, "Do you understand? Yes or yes?"
Mm-hmm.
And then if it takes you 2 to 3 seconds to think, they'll be like, "Do you need time to think, Billy? Do you need time to think, Angel?" And that's when you're like, I think I do need time to think. And guess what? Okay, bye, Angel. Go home for the day. Come back tomorrow. You were sitting there probably having the expectation that you just needed 5 minutes to think. You needed to feel yourself in your chest, and these temporary negative emotions, they got in the way of something and created a permanent mistake. Now, if that place wants to reconsider your employment, that's not an option.
It's all right. That's the world for you.
It is.
All sorts of issues in the world.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do for the night? Got plans? Got plans with the gal?
No.
Nothing exciting?
No. She's in another state.
Oh.
She's been in another state ever since we both got let go from Special Fell. Yeah, but everything's cool though. Like, my trust is good. My insecurity definitely got a lot better. And I think really shaving my head helped too, because now I'm not focused on everybody looking at me and thinking this about me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ugly. Okay, yeah, I need to think about my goals.
And what was your hair like before? Longer?
I remember?
It was all over the place.
It went up like a blowout.
Yeah.
On the sides like Sonic the Hedgehog. Now I'm trying to get waves. Why don't you try to get waves?
I'm a monk. I cannot have hair. The longest this thing can get is 1 inch. That's it. That's like for like deep dark winter where it's really cold. So I'm actually probably gonna shave it tonight. So we've given up all the vanity stuff.
Yeah.
We don't attach on the vanity. You should go yours a little bit shorter too.
A little shorter.
Shorter and expose your forehead because forehead exposes intelligence. It signifies intelligence, make you smarter. You cover your forehead, you'll be done with a box of rocks all day, every day for the rest of your life. That's words of the wise. That is according to the Chinese facial readings. Yeah, you ever see lawyers or doctors cover their forehead?
No.
Look sleepy or look like Frankenstein trying to, go to sleep? Yeah, no. Every time you look at doctors and lawyers and judges, they look very bright, awake, aware, conscious, you know? So make it that way so that people have confidence in you.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, keep your head down, keep working, don't get yourself in trouble, go back to the CBT and keep a journal. Now, these are the last recommendations, you're gonna get while I'm still here.
Yeah, you're probably the only one.